There are people who will make more money in 2027 from cleaning grease, renting empty space, fixing broken equipment, and hauling things nobody wants than some people will make working a full year in a corporate office. And almost nobody will notice them. They won't have millions of followers. They won't be launching the next artificial intelligence company. They probably won't even have a business that sounds impressive when someone asks what they do. But every month, customers will keep paying them. That's the strange thing about boring businesses. The less exciting a business sounds, the easier it can sometimes be to understand why it makes money. After looking at dozens of ordinary business models that could remain relevant heading into 2027, I narrowed the list down to 20 that share something important. They solve problems people don't suddenly stop having. Dirty buildings still need cleaning. Equipment still breaks. Businesses still produce waste. Homeowners still need maintenance. And companies will continue paying other people to handle jobs they don't want to handle themselves. Some businesses on this list can be started relatively small. Others require equipment, licensing, employees, or serious capital. None of the numbers I'm going to mention should be treated as guaranteed income, because location, competition, expenses, regulations, and execution can completely change the economics. But that's not really the point. The point is understanding the pattern. And pay close attention when we reach the final 5, because that's where some of the least obvious opportunities appear. Let's start with number 20. Number 20, commercial trash bin cleaning. Think about the dumpster behind almost every restaurant you've ever visited. People clean the kitchen, they clean the dining room, they clean the bathrooms. But what about the giant container holding rotting food outside? Eventually it smells. Grease builds up. Liquid collects underneath it, and somebody has to clean it. That's where a specialized commercial bin cleaning service comes in. Instead of competing with hundreds of general cleaning companies, you can specialize in cleaning dumpsters, trash enclosures, commercial bins, and the surrounding concrete. The equipment can range from relatively simple pressure washing setups to specialized mobile bin cleaning systems. But here's where the business becomes interesting. Don't think about selling one cleaning. Think about routes. Imagine signing 40 restaurants, apartment complexes, or small commercial properties in one geographic area. You don't randomly drive across an entire city looking for work. You organize those clients into a route and service them on scheduled intervals. That changes everything. Travel time falls. Scheduling becomes easier. And instead of waking up wondering where your next customer is coming from, a portion of next month's work is already sitting on your calendar. That's the first pattern I want you to remember. Boring businesses become significantly more attractive when you turn random jobs into predictable routes. Number 19, parking lot sweeping. You probably don't think about how a shopping center parking lot gets cleaned. That's exactly the opportunity. Leaves accumulate. Fast food wrappers blow around. Shopping receipts end up under cars. Broken glass appears. And property managers don't want their employees walking around a massive parking lot at midnight cleaning it manually. Specialized sweeping companies handle it. A commercial sweeper can service retail centers, office properties, warehouses, apartment complexes, and other large paved areas. And the interesting part is, when much of the work happens at night. That sounds inconvenient. It is. But inconvenience is often where competition disappears. Most people want a business that operates from 9 o'clock to 5. The business owner willing to operate when stores are closed can serve properties while their parking lots are mostly empty. The real product isn't sweeping. It's reliability. If a property manager knows that every Tuesday and Friday morning the parking lot will be clean before customers arrive, you've removed one problem from their life. And people repeatedly pay to keep problems removed. Number 18, dryer vent cleaning. Here's a business hidden inside millions of homes. Every time someone uses a dryer, lint moves through the vent system. Some gets trapped. Over time, airflow can become restricted. Homeowners may notice clothes taking longer to dry, excessive heat, or other warning signs. That creates demand for professional dryer vent inspection and cleaning. Compared with many equipment-heavy businesses, the basic service can have a relatively accessible entry point, although proper training, insurance, safety practices, and local requirements still matter. But the more interesting opportunity may be commercial. Think about businesses operating multiple dryers, laundromats, apartment laundry facilities, hotels, salons, veterinary facilities, other commercial laundry operations. One homeowner may call occasionally. A property manager responsible for multiple buildings can represent significantly more work. That's something beginners regularly misunderstand. They ask, how many individual customers can I find? A better question is, who already controls access to hundreds of potential jobs? One relationship with a property management company can be more valuable than constantly finding homeowners individually. Whenever possible, go upstream toward the person controlling multiple locations. Number 17, parking lot striping. You've seen this business thousands of times without noticing it. Every parking space needs lines. Fire lanes need markings. Accessible spaces require proper markings and layouts. Directional arrows fade. Numbers disappear. Weather slowly destroys paint. Then somebody gets paid to repaint everything. Parking lot striping is almost the definition of a boring business. The customer isn't buying something exciting. They're buying order, visibility, appearance, and in some cases, compliance with applicable requirements. The equipment can be relatively modest compared with heavy construction businesses, although larger commercial jobs may require more sophisticated equipment and expertise. But here's the part that matters. The same property deteriorates again. Paint doesn't last forever. That means yesterday's completed job can eventually become tomorrow's customer again. Now, combine striping with crack sealing, curb painting, pressure washing, or basic parking lot maintenance. Suddenly, you're not selling one service. You're becoming the person the property manager calls when the outside of the property needs attention. That's how a small service becomes harder to replace. Number 16, commercial kitchen hood cleaning. This one is dirty, really dirty. Walk behind the scenes of a busy restaurant and you'll find something customers rarely think about. Ventilation systems dealing with smoke, vapor, and grease generated by cooking. Those systems require proper maintenance and cleaning. Specialized companies clean exhaust hoods, ducts, fans, and related components according to applicable standards and requirements. It's unpleasant work. It may happen when restaurants are closed. It requires proper knowledge, equipment, documentation, and safety procedures. Which is precisely why I included it. People constantly search for businesses with no competition. But they search in the wrong place. They search for some secret online niche nobody discovered. Sometimes low competition isn't created by secrecy. It's created by inconvenience. If a job is dirty, technical, performed at awkward hours, and important to the customer, fewer people want to build their business around it. That discomfort can become an economic moat. And restaurants don't stop producing grease because the economy slows down. If they're cooking, the system is being used. If the system is being used, maintenance remains necessary. That kind of demand is worth paying attention to. Number 15, mobile fleet washing. Imagine owning 25 delivery vans, or 40 plumbing trucks, or 60 company vehicles. Keeping them clean isn't just about vanity. Those vehicles represent the company every time they're on the road. But driving every vehicle individually to a car wash wastes employee time. So instead, a mobile fleet washing operator goes to the vehicles. That's the business. You bring the equipment to the customer's yard, depot, warehouse, or parking area and clean multiple vehicles in one visit, subject to local environmental and wastewater rules. Here's why I prefer the logic of this model over ordinary individual car washing. One residential customer equals one vehicle. One commercial account might equal 30. You make one sale and potentially acquire dozens of recurring units of work. Think about that carefully. Most beginners try to increase income by finding more customers. Sometimes the better strategy is finding customers who own more things. A landscaping company has trucks. A delivery company has vans. A contractor has work vehicles. A rental company has inventory. Find the person controlling the fleet and you've concentrated demand into one relationship. That's leverage. Number 14, commercial ice machine cleaning and maintenance. Restaurants need ice. Hotels need ice. Bars need ice. Healthcare and hospitality facilities may rely on ice-making equipment, and ice machines need regular cleaning and maintenance. Yet this isn't something most people casually think about when they think small business. That's why it's interesting. The opportunity isn't necessarily becoming a general refrigeration company serving everything imaginable. Specialization can be powerful. You could become known for a narrow category of commercial equipment and build relationships with businesses operating that equipment every day. The advantage of specialization is repetition. If you work on the same types of systems repeatedly, your processes become more standardized. You learn common issues. You understand replacement parts. You can estimate jobs faster. You can organize maintenance schedules. The customer starts associating your name with one specific problem. There's an important lesson here. The riches aren't always in doing more things. Sometimes they're in doing fewer things for more customers. Number 13, small commercial laundry pickup and delivery. I'm not talking about opening a giant industrial laundry plant. Think smaller. Massage businesses use linens. Beauty businesses use towels. Fitness facilities may generate laundry. Vacation rental operators constantly need sheets and towels turned around. Small hospitality businesses have the same problem. Someone has to wash, dry, fold, organize, and return those items. Now here's where people make this business unnecessarily expensive. They assume they need to own the laundry facility immediately. Not necessarily. A lower capital version may start by partnering with existing laundromats or laundry processors and focusing on customer acquisition, pickup, delivery, organization, and service. You're effectively selling convenience and logistics. Suppose a small business spends hours every week handling its own laundry. You walk in and say, "We pick it up Tuesday, you get it back Wednesday. Same schedule every week." That's not an exciting pitch. But to an owner who hates dealing with piles of dirty towels, it sounds wonderful. Remember this: convenience businesses work because people aren't only paying for the task, they're buying their time back. Number 12, mobile welding and metal repair. A broken gate at a warehouse doesn't conveniently teleport itself into a welding shop. Neither does damaged equipment, neither does a trailer with a broken metal component. Sometimes the repair needs to come to the customer. That's where mobile welding becomes valuable. A properly trained and equipped welder can travel to farms, construction sites, warehouses, equipment yards, commercial properties, and other locations needing repairs. Obviously, this isn't a business you learn in an afternoon. Skill, safety, certification requirements where applicable, insurance, and experience matter. But that's also why the opportunity exists. The harder a skill is to acquire, the fewer casual competitors appear overnight. And emergency work changes the economics. If someone's decorative metal chair breaks, maybe they wait. If an essential piece of equipment stops working and production is interrupted, waiting becomes expensive. Urgency changes what a solution is worth. That's a pattern you'll see repeatedly. Don't only ask what the service costs. Ask what the unresolved problem costs the customer. When doing nothing costs them thousands, paying a skilled specialist hundreds or more to solve it quickly becomes much easier to justify. Number 11, small equipment rental. Here's one of my favorite business principles. People often need access to expensive equipment. They don't necessarily need to own it. Maybe someone needs a floor grinder for 2 days. A contractor needs a specialty saw. A homeowner needs a stump grinder. An event company needs temporary equipment. Buying something for thousands of dollars when you need it once makes no sense. Renting does. The business owner absorbs the ownership cost and sells temporary access repeatedly. But don't immediately imagine competing with massive national rental companies. The opportunity may be specialization. Maybe your local market has demand for a category that larger rental stores don't stock deeply. Or maybe customers value delivery because transporting the equipment is difficult. A machine sitting in your garage is an expense. The same machine rented repeatedly becomes an asset producing revenue. Of course, you need to account for maintenance, damage, insurance, storage, utilization, and depreciation. That's the difference between buying equipment and owning an equipment rental business. The machine doesn't make you money because you own it. It makes money when customers consistently need it. Number 10, apartment turnover services. Every time a tenant leaves an apartment, a clock starts ticking. The property isn't producing its full potential while it sits empty. Before the next tenant arrives, it may need cleaning, paint touch-ups, minor repairs, trash removal, carpet treatment, fixture replacement, sometimes multiple small jobs. Property managers don't necessarily want to coordinate 5 different contractors for every unit. So what if one company handled the turnover? That's the opportunity. You're not just selling cleaning. You're selling speed between tenants. And speed has measurable value. If better coordination helps a unit become rent-ready sooner, the property manager has a financial reason to care about your reliability. This is another example of selling an outcome instead of a task. Don't say, "We clean apartments." Say, "We help get vacant units ready for the next tenant." Same physical work. Completely different value proposition. Once you prove yourself to a manager, controlling dozens or hundreds of units, the relationship can generate repeated work whenever tenants move. Again, one relationship, many jobs. Number 9, commercial door and hardware repair. Every commercial building has doors. Not just the front door, interior doors, closers, hinges, locks, handles, exit hardware, automatic door components, warehouse doors. And because doors are used constantly, things wear out. A door that doesn't close correctly in someone's spare bedroom can wait. A malfunctioning door at a busy commercial property may need attention much faster. Specialized commercial door and hardware service isn't glamorous, but the demand can be persistent. And once you become an approved vendor for property managers, retail locations, offices, or facilities, you may receive repeated calls. Here's the deeper business lesson. The best recurring businesses aren't always subscriptions where a credit card is charged automatically. Sometimes recurrence comes from becoming the default person a customer calls. That's relationship recurrence. You solve the first problem well. They save your number. 6 months later, something else breaks. They don't search online again. They call you. Trust itself becomes an asset. Number 8, grease trap service coordination. Restaurants produce another problem nobody eating dinner wants to think about: fats, oils, and grease. Commercial food operations may use grease management systems that require proper servicing under applicable local rules. Specialized providers pump, clean, transport, and dispose of material according to regulations. This can be equipment intensive and highly regulated depending on the location, so it isn't something to enter casually. But there's also another angle. Instead of immediately buying expensive specialized equipment, an entrepreneur may begin by understanding the local market, building restaurant relationships, coordinating services with properly licensed providers where legally permitted, and learning where the real bottlenecks are before committing large capital. The important lesson isn't go buy a truck tomorrow. It's the opposite. Find demand first. People often fall in love with equipment. They buy the truck. They buy the machine. They buy the trailer. Then they start asking, where are the customers? Wrong order. First, find the recurring problem. Then understand what customers currently pay to solve it. Then determine whether you can deliver that solution profitably. Only after that should the expensive equipment become part of the conversation. Number 7, commercial water filter replacement service. Think about every business that uses filtered water. Offices, restaurants, coffee shops, gyms, dental practices, hospitality locations, various commercial machines. Filters don't last forever. Someone has to track when they're due for replacement, purchase the correct filter, replace it, inspect the system, and document the service where necessary. For one location, this might seem tiny. That's why most people ignore it. But boring business economics are often about aggregation. One filter replacement isn't exciting. 100 locations on scheduled service intervals are different. This is where route density matters again. If your clients are spread across 200 miles, you'll spend your life driving. If you dominate one geographic zone, several stops can potentially be completed efficiently. That's why two companies with the exact same number of customers can have completely different profitability. One has customers everywhere. The other owns a route. Density is an invisible advantage. Number 6, construction site cleanup. Construction creates value. It also creates a mess. Packaging, scrap materials, dust, debris, discarded fixtures, temporary protective materials, general cleanup. Contractors want their skilled workers building, installing, and finishing, not spending expensive labor hours doing tasks that can be outsourced. A specialized construction cleanup company can handle different stages of the project, from rough cleanup to final preparation before handover, depending on local requirements and the company's capabilities. And here's what makes contractor relationships powerful. A homeowner may remodel once every 15 years. A contractor may complete projects constantly. Who would you rather build a relationship with? The homeowner gives you one project. The contractor can become a pipeline. That's why B2B relationships appear again and again on this list. Instead of constantly marketing to the final customer, attach yourself to someone who already generates customers. Roofers generate debris. Remodelers need cleanup. Property managers need maintenance. Realtors need property services. Businesses already sitting in the flow of transactions can feed another business for years. Now we're entering the final 5. And these are interesting because each demonstrates a different principle that could matter even more heading into 2027. Number 5, senior home modification services. The population is getting older, and many people would rather remain in their existing homes than move simply because their house has become difficult to navigate. That creates demand for practical modifications. Grab bars, handrails, improved lighting, safer flooring transitions, lever-style handles, accessibility improvements, bathroom modifications, other changes that can make a home easier to use depending on the person's needs and professional recommendations. This isn't about making medical promises. It's a home service business focused on adapting physical spaces. A contractor or handyman with the appropriate skills, licenses where required, and understanding of accessibility can specialize instead of competing for every random home repair job. And specialization changes perception. Handyman sounds general. Home accessibility modification specialist immediately tells a customer what problem you solve. The same person may have similar tools, similar skills, similar transportation, but positioning changes. As populations age, businesses serving older homeowners and their families may find durable demand because the underlying demographic shift doesn't depend on a social media trend. And there may be referral relationships with professionals and organizations already serving older adults, subject to applicable rules. This is the kind of business that isn't exciting because the problem isn't new. That's exactly why it deserves attention. Number 4. EV charger maintenance and support. Everyone talks about installing electric vehicle chargers. Fewer people talk about what happens afterward. Equipment ages. Connectors get damaged. Software connectivity can fail. Mounting hardware gets hit. Screens stop working. Payment systems can malfunction. Parking facilities need inspections and maintenance. As charging infrastructure expands, installed equipment creates an entirely separate service economy around keeping that infrastructure operational. Think about air conditioners. The money wasn't only in selling the first air conditioner. An entire industry developed around installation, inspection, maintenance, repair, and replacement. Infrastructure creates maintenance demand. Qualified electrical work must, of course, be handled by appropriately licensed professionals according to local law. But from a business perspective, the important question is, what installed base is growing today that will need service tomorrow? People love chasing whatever is being sold. Sometimes the better opportunity is maintaining what everybody else already sold. Number 3. Small business AI workflow setup. This one sounds less boring than the others until you see what customers actually want. Most small business owners don't care about artificial intelligence. They care about missed phone calls, slow estimates, unanswered inquiries, appointment reminders, invoices, customer follow-ups, repetitive paperwork, frequently asked questions, lead organization. That's boring. And that's exactly where the business opportunity is. Instead of selling AI consulting, which sounds vague, sell a specific solved workflow. For example, a service business receives an inquiry. The inquiry is captured. The customer receives an appropriate response. The lead is organized. The owner gets notified. A follow-up task is created. The business isn't paying because artificial intelligence is exciting. It's paying because fewer leads fall through the cracks. The biggest mistake here would be promising magical automation. Businesses still need oversight, privacy safeguards, security, testing, and humans responsible for important decisions. But if you can save an owner several repetitive hours each week without creating new headaches, that can have clear economic value. And unlike building the next giant AI company, you may not need to invent new technology. You can become the person who implements existing tools for a specific industry. Plumbers, cleaning companies, roofers, small clinics where appropriate systems and privacy requirements are satisfied. Property managers, local contractors. Choose one niche. Learn its workflow deeply. Solve the same boring operational problems repeatedly. There's that word again. Repeatedly. Number 2. Commercial preventive maintenance coordination. Imagine a small chain with 15 locations. Every location has lights, plumbing, HVAC equipment, doors, restrooms, signage, filters, safety equipment, small repairs. And something is always approaching the point where it needs attention. Many businesses manage maintenance reactively. Something breaks. Everyone panics. Someone searches for a contractor. A preventive maintenance coordinator flips that process. You maintain schedules, track recurring service needs, coordinate qualified vendors, document completed work, flag upcoming maintenance, and become one point of contact for the owner. You're not necessarily performing every technical task yourself. You're organizing the system that makes sure the correct qualified person handles the correct job at the correct time. Why could this become valuable? Because chaos is expensive. A restaurant owner doesn't want to remember when 30 different pieces of equipment need attention. A property owner doesn't want to maintain a spreadsheet containing every service vendor. They want one reliable system. And once you've built that system around their operations, replacing you becomes inconvenient. That's another hidden form of business strength. The more deeply your service becomes integrated into a customer's routine, the stickier the relationship can become. And now we're at number 1. The business I want you to remember isn't necessarily the easiest. It isn't necessarily the cheapest. And it definitely isn't glamorous. But it combines several of the patterns we've discussed. Number 1, small commercial route acquisition. Notice that I didn't name one specific service. That's intentional. Because one of the most overlooked ways to enter a boring business in 2027 may be not starting one from zero at all. It may be buying a small existing route. A pool service route? A vending route? A commercial cleaning book of business? A lawn maintenance route? A laundry pickup route? A small delivery route? A recurring maintenance customer list? Why? Because the hardest part of many small businesses isn't doing the work. It's acquiring customers. Imagine 2 people. One spends $30,000 buying equipment and then starts with 0 customers. The other spends part of that capital acquiring an existing stream of customers and uses the rest for equipment and working capital. Who is closer to operating a business on day 1? That's why existing routes can be interesting. You're potentially acquiring relationships, revenue history, geographic density, operating knowledge, and existing demand. But don't misunderstand me. Buying an existing route isn't automatically safe. You have to verify everything. Are the customers actually active? Are contracts transferable? How concentrated is revenue? Why is the seller leaving? How many customers cancel each year? What are the real expenses? How much owner labor is hidden inside the reported profit? Does one customer represent 40% of revenue? Are the vehicles or machines near the end of their useful lives? You don't buy the seller's story. You investigate the business. But when the numbers are real, buying something proven can solve one of entrepreneurship's biggest problems, starting from zero. And that brings us to the pattern connecting all 20 businesses. The first pattern is recurrence. One customer paying you every month can be more valuable than constantly finding new customers. The second is inconvenience. Dirty work, night work, technical work, repetitive work, jobs involving driving, jobs involving awkward environments. Most people run away from inconvenience. That reduces competition for the people willing to organize around it. The third is specialization. Don't be another general cleaning company if your market will pay for a specialist. Don't fix everything if becoming exceptional at one profitable category gives you better positioning. Don't sell AI. Solve one workflow. Don't rent everything. Own one underserved equipment category. The fourth is density. 20 customers scattered across an entire state can be worse than 12 customers sitting within a few miles of each other. Driving doesn't usually create value. Service does. So every minute you remove from transportation can potentially improve the economics of a route business. And the fifth pattern might be the most important. Solve the problem before buying the equipment. People get this backward constantly. They watch a video, they see a machine, they get excited, they finance it, then they park it somewhere and start wondering how to make money with it. Don't start with the machine. Start with the customer. Before launching any of these businesses, talk to the people who would actually pay. Call property managers. Talk to restaurant owners. Talk to contractors. Look at existing competitors. Study local pricing. Check licensing. Check insurance. Check permits. Check disposal rules. Calculate fuel. Calculate labor. Calculate maintenance. Calculate customer acquisition. Then ask the only question that matters. After everything is paid, is there enough money left to justify doing this repeatedly? Because revenue isn't income. And a business that produces $20,000 a month while consuming $19,500 isn't making you rich. Now, there are 3 mistakes I would avoid if I were choosing one of these businesses for 2027. The first is choosing based entirely on how much somebody online claims they're earning. Your city isn't their city. Their costs aren't your costs. Their experience isn't your experience. Their revenue isn't their profit. You need local demand. A brilliant snow removal business makes very little sense somewhere it barely snows. A pool route doesn't help much in a market with very few pools. Demand comes first. The second mistake is competing by becoming the cheapest provider. Being cheap is easy to copy. Being reliable is harder. Answer the phone. Show up when promised. Communicate clearly. Send professional estimates. Fix mistakes. Make paying easy. Follow up. None of those things sound revolutionary, and that's why they're powerful. Customers are often amazed when a service company simply does what it said it would do. The third mistake is staying trapped as the employee of your own company forever. In the beginning, doing everything yourself may be necessary. You answer calls. You perform the work. You send invoices. You buy supplies. You drive. You sell. But eventually you have to identify which parts can become systems. Can scheduling be standardized? Can routes be optimized? Can someone else perform part of the service? Can invoicing become simpler? Can supplies be reordered on a schedule? Can recurring customers be placed on predictable service intervals? The goal isn't to avoid work. The goal is to stop rebuilding the business from scratch every morning. Think about 2 people. We'll call them Michael and Ryan. Michael wants to become an entrepreneur. Every year he discovers a new opportunity. One year it's cryptocurrency, then dropshipping, then an app, then artificial intelligence. Then another online trend. He watches videos for months, buys courses, changes direction, and constantly feels like he's 6 months late. Ryan does something much less interesting. He notices that several commercial properties around his area have terrible-looking parking lots. He spends weeks talking with property managers before buying anything. Most say no. A few explain what they currently pay. One tells him their existing contractor is unreliable. Now Ryan has information. He doesn't immediately quit his job. He learns the service properly, checks the local requirements, buys only what he needs to start, and takes a small job. He shows up on time. The property manager calls again, then refers another location. Ryan doesn't suddenly become rich. That's important. For months, his business looks painfully ordinary. But he keeps doing something Michael never does. He repeats what works. Eventually, he has enough recurring work to hire help. Then he adds a related service. Then another property manager calls. 3 years later, Michael is still searching for the next opportunity. Ryan is operating a business nobody at a dinner party would find interesting. But Ryan doesn't care, because boring stopped meaning unsuccessful a long time ago. That's the real lesson behind this list. We have been trained to associate wealth with innovation. And innovation absolutely creates enormous companies. But you don't need to create an enormous company to change your financial life. Sometimes you need a small company with healthy margins, repeat customers, manageable debt, good systems, and a service people continue needing. You don't need everyone in America to become your customer. You may need 50 good commercial accounts, or 100 root customers, or 5 property management relationships, or 20 businesses paying you every month. That's a completely different way of thinking about entrepreneurship. Instead of asking, what can I invent? Ask, what are people already paying for badly? Instead of, what's trending? Ask, what will still need to be done 5 years from now? Instead of, how can I go viral? Ask, how can I make one customer keep paying me? And instead of, which business sounds impressive? Ask, which business actually fits my market, skills, capital, and tolerance for the work? Because there is no universally perfect business on this list. If you have very little capital, a service requiring mainly skill and basic equipment may make more sense than purchasing expensive machinery. If you have capital but limited time, an existing route or equipment-based model may deserve investigation. If you're technically skilled, specialized repair can create a stronger barrier to entry. If you're good at organization and sales but not technical labor, coordination and route management businesses may suit you better. The right business isn't simply the one with the biggest theoretical profit. It's the one you can operate consistently long enough to become good at it. And before you spend money, do something extremely boring. Research. Pick 3 businesses from this list. Search your local area. Identify the existing companies. Call potential customers. Understand pricing. Understand regulations. Calculate realistic costs. Find out what customers complain about. You might discover your area already has 50 excellent providers. Good. You just saved yourself thousands of dollars. Or you might hear the same sentence repeatedly. We have somebody, but they never answer. We can't find anyone reliable. They're always booked. They don't service our area. That's when things become interesting. Because opportunity doesn't always announce itself by saying, here is a profitable business. Sometimes opportunity sounds like a frustrated customer complaining. Listen carefully enough, and they'll tell you exactly what business they wish existed. The people who build wealth from boring businesses usually aren't magicians. They notice a recurring problem. They learn how to solve it. They charge enough to solve it profitably. They show up again and again and again. Eventually, that repetition becomes a customer base. The customer base becomes cash flow. The cash flow buys equipment. The equipment increases capacity. Capacity allows employees. Employees create leverage. And leverage gives the owner something far more valuable than an impressive business title: time. So when 2027 arrives and everyone is talking about the next revolutionary opportunity, remember that somewhere nearby, someone will still need a dumpster cleaned, a parking lot repainted, a commercial door repaired, a vacant apartment prepared, a fleet washed, a filter replaced, a restaurant serviced, and someone will get paid to do it. The question is whether you'll keep walking past those businesses because they look boring, or finally recognize that boring might be exactly why they work.